Okay, so now we're on FRQ number 8. This is a non-calculator question. And it's probably one of my favorite FRQs to do because it involves chain rules and quotient rules and some using a whole lot of this chart up here. So let's get started. So looking at this chart, we've got f of x, f prime of x, g of x, and g prime of x at various values of x. So let's look at letter A. A says, let k of x equals f of g of x. Write an equation for the line tangent to the graph of k at x equals 3. So first off, I need a point and I need a derivative so I can get my slope. So let's start with the point. We have x and y is our point. We already know 3 is our x value. So I need the y value that goes with it. So I'm going to plug back into this. K of x equals f of g of x. I'm going to plug 3 in for x and solve. So when we evaluate a composite function like this, we want to do the inside first. So I'm going to use my chart up here and find g of 3, which is 6. And then I'm going to do the outside part. Now I need f of 6. So f of 6 gives me 4. So my point that I'm using is 3, 4. Okay, now the next part, I need the slope. So I need to find the derivative of k of x. So I'm going to start by, we have f of g of x. This is a chain rule. I'm going to first take the derivative of the inside. The derivative of the inside is g prime of x times the derivative of the outside, which would be f prime, and we leave the inside alone. So that's just your generic plain chain rule. Now I'm going to plug in my x value, which is 3. And I'm going to use my chart to find the rest of the values. So g prime of 3 is 2 times, I'm going to do the inside first over here. So first I'm going to find g of 3, which is 6. Now I have to find f prime of 6 from my chart. So f prime of 6 is 5. And that gives me 10. So that's my slope. So now I'm going to write my equation. So our equation would be y minus 4 equals m, which is 10, x minus 3. And there is our final solution to letter A. Okay, so let's try letter B next. Letter B is very similar. This time we're going to find h prime of 1. So for B, h prime, in order to take the derivative of this function, this is a quotient. So I'm going to use the quotient rule. So hopefully you remember your quotient rule. It starts with ho d high. So ho is f of x. D high is g prime of x. Minus high, g of x. D ho is f prime of x. All over the bottom squared. So ho ho. Now all we have to do is plug 1 in and solve. So I'm going to replace all of those x's with 1's. And the easiest part now is just to grab those numbers from the chart so we can keep solving. So first I need f of 1. F of 1 from the chart is negative 6. G prime of 1 is 8 minus g of 1 is 2, f prime of 1 is 3, over f of 1 is negative 6 squared. Now you do not have to simplify, so at this point you can leave your answer just like this and you would get full credit. But if you want to simplify, that would be negative 48 minus 6, so negative 54 over 36. And that simplifies to negative 3 halves. Okay, last part is part C. Part C, we have an integral. So it says evaluate the integral from 1 to 3 of f double prime of 2x dx. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. So in order to take the integral of f double prime, it's just going to be f prime. The problem is this isn't just an f of x. It has an inside part. And anytime we need to take the integral of an inside part, we have to use u substitution. So that might be a tricky part of this question, is not recognizing that because it has an inside part, you have to use u substitution. So I'm going to set u equal to the inside, which is 2x. Find du, which is 2 dx. And I'm going to put in that 2. I don't have that. Take out a 1/2. So I'm going to rewrite it now. This is 1/2 times the integral from 1 to 3. The 2 and the dx become du. And then we have f double prime of u. If you need to pause at any point to catch up, go ahead and pause. Okay, now I'm going to take the integral. So the integral of f double prime would just be f prime. I'm going to bring down that 1/2. And I'm going to plug back in for u. So 1/2 f prime of 2x. And we're going to evaluate this from 1 to 3. So when we evaluate, remember we do top minus bottom. So I'm going to plug the 3 in first. That would give me 6 minus, I'm going to plug the 1 in next. So that would give me 2. Okay, now I'm going to use my chart to evaluate these. So looking at my chart, f prime of 6 would be 5. F prime of 2 is negative 2. So again, we can stop right there. You don't have to simplify. Or if you want to simplify and just check your work, that does simplify down to 7/2. Okay, so this was actually a pretty quick one. Hopefully you got an FRQ like this because you can work through it pretty quickly, and that gives you more time for the other questions that might be a little trickier.